Hi guys, it's Jade. I'm coming at you with another video today. Yet again, I'm wearing the same outfit that I wore in the last video I recorded. Switching outfits per video is a thing of the past for me. I am over it. So today's video is going to be a quick one, but it's something that I really wanted to address because I get a lot of DMs about it, and it is about removing followers. I know, can you believe I said it? I talk about growing your Instagram all the time and now I'm telling you to remove followers, but just bear with me because there is a really good reason for it. Before we get started though, if you like this type of content about leveling up your hustles, leveling up your social media game, then please subscribe to my channel. I release content every week. Okay, so why am I telling you to do the unthinkable and actually remove your followers and decrease your follower count? The reason why is this magical thing called engagement rates. I feel like loads more people are getting kind of up to date with what engagement rates are recently. It's a bit of a buzzword, engagement. But what your engagement rate basically is the percentage of your followers who are actually engaging with your content, right? So let's do an example. So you had 100 followers and you had an engagement rate of 10%. That means that 10 of your followers on average engage with your content when you post. So the average engagement rate, it varies quite drastically. For some niches, it's about 2%. For others, it's about 5%. What you need to know is that the higher your engagement rate, the more effective your channel. So this is especially important for all you influencers and content creators out there. I know I have a lot of you who subscribe to my channel. I say a lot and literally like, I'm such a small YouTuber, who do I think I am? I mean, I have a few of you who subscribe to my channel. This is so key to you. I actually posted something on Instagram recently, which was basically a quote from a brand, which was featured in a report by 76 Agency. It was all about influencer pricing. If you'd like to know how much influencers get paid or how much you should be charging as an influencer, check out this video because I talk about all the findings from that report in it. But the quote basically said, it's not always about following. Engagement rate is very important. Someone with 50,000 followers with a 1% engagement rate is not beneficial, but someone with 10,000 followers with a 15% engagement rate is getting put through. So that is actually coming from a brand. But even if you're not an influencer or a content creator, if you're a brand owner or if you're just generally an Instagram user, it's really important to be in tune with what your engagement rate is and to be aware of different ways that you can improve it. In my opinion, there are two main ways to improve your engagement rate. One is by having a really solid engagement routine. If you don't have one and you'd like to find out what yours should be or how to have one, then I recommend checking out this video. I share with you what mine is and I give you some tips and tricks to establish your own. The other way to improve your engagement rate, and probably the most drastic way, is to remove followers, which brings me back to the purpose of this video. Removing inactive followers or followers who aren't engaging with your content is such an effective way to increase your engagement rate. It's also something that you need to look to do on a regular basis. Like, this feature has not been on Instagram for long, maybe like 6 months to a year. So not everyone does it. And it's something what's really good to get in the habit of, especially if your page is growing. Because unfortunately, the more your page grows, the lower your engagement rate will dip. It's just a natural thing what happens. And the more inactive bots or just fake accounts who start to follow you. So keeping on top of your follower list and unfollowing people on a regular basis is going to be super useful to you. So let's actually talk about how you do it and how you find those people. So I just thought to myself, oh, it's going to be really hard for me to find an example of someone to remove as your follower because I'm just so hot on removing followers. It took me 2 seconds to find someone who I need to remove. It's actually the 5th account. I'm obviously not as on it as I thought I was. So there are a few characteristics in an account who is potentially a bot or someone who's not going to engage with your content. The person who I found embarrassingly quickly is this account here. So the reason why this is immediately flagged to me is because, first of all, there's no profile picture, which is a common trait of a bot. Bots are also very clever right now nowadays, and they also have profile pictures. So don't just think if they have a profile picture, they're not a bot, because sometimes they are. But not having a profile picture is a common characteristic of a bot. Also, when I click on their profile, there are no posts. They're following a bunch of people, but that's kind of it. And also, when I go on who they're following, they're not necessarily people who are related to my niche. So one thing which sometimes happens, and you've got to be quite careful of, is that if someone's not actually on Instagram, I know, there's people out there who aren't on Instagram, can you believe it? But if someone's not actually an active Instagram user, but they want to consume some people's content, especially if you're in my niche where it's like educational content, they might create a profile just for the pure purpose of engaging with your content and learning some stuff for you, which is actually a really lovely thought. The easiest way you can identify one of those accounts is by looking at who they're following. So if they're following a bunch of accounts which are similar to your niche, so if I looked on this account and they were following loads of like Instagram marketing tips or like branding and all that kind of stuff, then I would be like, oh, okay, fair enough. It's probably a real person. They just don't actually use their Instagram. However, this person is not following anyone who's related to my niche. So for that reason, I kind of question, is this a real account? Are they going to engage with my content? Are they even using this Instagram account? I don't really know. So I'm probably going to remove them. So you go to the top right-hand corner and then you just select remove follower. And then there you go, I've got one less follower. Other characteristics that you can look for are accounts which are following a lot of people. So Instagram actually have a limit on the amount of people you can follow. I think it's about 7,500. And if you find an account who is following the absolute maximum amount of that, so they are following like 7,499 accounts, it's usually a bit of a red flag. Who needs to follow that many people? It's a red flag. Also, it's worth noting, like, if there is someone who's genuinely following that many people, the chances of them seeing your content anyway is pretty slim. If you're fighting with 7,499 people to get on their feed, like, it's pretty slim. Other characteristics that you can look out for are people who are spamming other accounts. They might be spamming your account. They might be doing the whole, hey, DM to collab, or just absolute nonsense bot-like activity. Those are also accounts which are probably spam. Another really big characteristic, and one which is more common now, this is like a new bot thing that I've seen happen, is bots will create accounts and use other people's photos, which is so annoying on so many levels. But they will create an account which will basically take loads of influencers' photos and will be using them like their own. Obviously, there's real people who do this too. You know, I'm aware of that. I have watched Catfish, but there are also bot accounts that do this now as well, and they normally have really similar bios to each other. One of my clients actually had a bunch of them follow her the other day, so I'll put some examples of some of these accounts over here, so you can see what I'm talking about. But that's another characteristic of a bot. And then the final one for you to look out for is just weird names. So Instagram names will have loads of characters in them. They've got loads of dots. Maybe there's like loads of different numbers, and it just basically looks like a computer program. It's the biggest way to communicate to us that they are actually a bot and not a real person, because the name looks like a computer program. So those are also characteristics for bots or inactive followers. Bonus tip I want to give you, because I've seen a few people recommend this in the past and it's not the right way to do it. So when you go on your following list, you'll see that there's an option to view the accounts that you've least interacted with. Sometimes I hear people giving advice to unfollow all of those accounts or to remove all those accounts as followers. You don't want to do this. People who are showing up on that section aren't necessarily bots. They're people who you have least interacted with. So it's not people who aren't interacting with you, it's people who you aren't interacting with. So in my opinion, there's an opportunity there for you to now engage with them. It will help your engagement rate, and hopefully it will welcome a few more people into the fold and, you know, hopefully help build a bit of a relationship with them. But what you also shouldn't be doing is removing them as followers. Like, remember, this is on your following list, so these are people who you're following, so there's no guarantee that all of these people are following you back. But if they are, then please don't just remove them. Try and build a relationship with them first, don't just remove them. And that feeds into a broader tip in general, which is be careful with who you're removing. This is a really great feature, and as I mentioned, it's great for your engagement rate, but don't get carried away with it, because if you imagine that you follow an account and you maybe haven't engaged with them for the past month, but maybe you used to, and you actually really like their content, maybe you've just not been on Instagram for a while, and then you log on and you find out that they've removed you, it doesn't leave the best impression, does it? You've got to be really strict with who you're removing, and you've got to know that you're removing the right people for the right reasons. So don't get a bit too trigger happy and just start removing those people at once. So that is it for today, a bit of a short one. If you enjoyed this video, then I recommend checking out this one. It is all about how you can create content for Instagram, how you can be a consistent queen or king, and how you could basically batch create content like a pro. Thank you so much for watching. I will see you in my next video.